Hello and welcome to Critical Idiots. In this episode, whoa. So, Bill and Ted's Face the Music. This is the third installment in the franchise.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
I
thought it was pretty fortunate.
just think some things are better left unsaid.
Okay.
It was a bit unnecessary.
Thank you for watching.
Bill and Ted Face the Music picks up where the second movie left off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had a legendary music career, but then it fizzled out. However, they're destined to have a song that unite the whole world together.
Yeah.
And this movie's about that struggle to get that song.
Which is, I feel like, almost a throwaway line in the original that now they have to base the whole franchise around.
Yeah. yeah, exactly. Like it was a tongue-in-cheek joke in the original.
Yeah.
Like it was like,
and then you boys
get
go
better.
on too.
Yeah.
So we catch up to them and they haven't written this song yet.
No.
And they're like nearing 50.
They're super depressed about it.
They've got kids that are near grown.
Keanu Reeves has no beard.
That are getting married.
No, are they
It
getting...
opens on the day that
Deacon's getting married
No.
to Missy.
That's
right.
his brother.
and they're on the brink of divorce.
Yeah, that's where it leads up to.
So,
With the
just a real
princesses.
fun stuff.
I felt like this movie started really strong. I felt
Yeah.
the opening scene where it's at the wedding of Missy, and it's doing this classic, the joke that they reuse that, first she's going out with Bill's mom, Bill's dad, and then she's divorced him and now going out with Ted's dad.
Yeah.
And now, now she's going out with Ted's brother.
Yeah. And it ends up with Ted's dad being his own son.
Yeah.
That's solid jokes at the start.
Yeah.
And that felt like a very classic, what you wanted to see in Bill and Ted in that speech at the wedding.
Yeah, and it's just silly. Yeah, and with the theremin and the throat singing.
That was great.
Yeah, I thought that was better than the last.
I was
song.
like, this is a short film because they've already found the song. Clearly.
Dude.
I thought they might rework that into something so amazing, but that was good.
Yeah, it's almost like, you already found it.
Yeah.
At the wedding.
that was some banger ass shit right there. Just put a trap beat behind that. Hey, top 40 right there.
I didn't even recognize it was Keanu Reeves until we rewatched
Until you
it.
just said that.
Yeah, Dude.
But he didn't have the beard.
Keanu Reeves without that beard is horrendous.
Yeah, at least old Keanu Reeves, Matrix Point Blank Keanu Reeves, he kind of rocks.
I disagree. I didn't see this.
I think he's very handsome still.
Yeah.
He's just so handsome with a beard.
The long hair
With the long
without
hair
the beard.
especially,
The long hair without the beard is just something that grates me to
We can't resist getting into hair talk.
Can we talk about
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd.
At least it's the main character this time.
That's a good point.
Anyway, that was a bit jarring for me.
I'm not kidding. Are there any other haircuts that troubled you?
No, they're all pretty generic.
Maybe to tag on to what Owen was saying before, like the first 20 minutes, at least for me, after like the wedding and then the throat singing and stuff, I thought like maybe this will be like a real life Bill and Ted, and it'll be like self-aware, they haven't grown up.
They face the music.
Yeah. And I was actually kind of into that.
Yeah.
And then
Everyone's over their
but
shit.
then they kind of like found a way to rehash the first and the second movie combined.
Yeah, they were paying a lot of homage to the two movies and like trying to have a lot of in jokes and
and so Bill and Ted go to alternate universes to try to find a perfect version of the song, and their daughters.
I think they're just going
back in
in time.
time.
They're going forward in time.
They go forward.
To different universes.
No, at first it's in the normal timeline. They're just moving forward in
Because they're
time.
like, okay, surely maybe in like 5 years we would have written the song.
Yeah.
Let's just go 5 years ahead.
Why don't we
Okay,
just
still
steal
haven't
it?
written it? Okay, let's go 10 years ahead. Okay, we still haven't written it.
We'll steal it from ourselves.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, their daughters, Thea and Billy, are going back in time to get like the greatest band ever together.
Yeah, well, they meet up with what's her name? The girl from Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
Kristen Shaw.
Kristen Shaw. Yeah, I think they get the ability to time travel off of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a small moment. I don't know how most of us felt. It's not like it was super in your face this the use of George Carlin.
Arguably tasteful.
Yeah, arguably.
But also arguably like a bit gross and
just because they had somebody redub him rather than just use some really stock standard footage of George Carlin from like one
Was
of the
it just
first
set
two
up that
movies.
Kristen was his daughter?
I think they were maybe trying to
his
remind
granddaughter.
like the audience that that's who Rufus was.
Because you almost kind of you just expected that he's not going to be in this.
Yeah.
And then you forget that Hollywood loves doing that shit. They just like doing CG posthumous.
Apparently they were gonna have him do like a whole bigger scene. So at
They're
least
gonna
it
do a
was
whole
just like
concert.
Song and dance.
It's like that was the original
I'm
plan.
seeing it at Coachella next year.
Tupac and George Carlin.
It's a real sneak peek.
Ah, damn. I feel that this movie has gone. Well, I mean, you guys would disagree, but I feel like the movie has captured the original spirit, albeit in a widescreen HD format.
Yeah, but I guess you're right. I do disagree. I don't disagree. It has captured the spirit, but I think at the cost of being having its own identity as a film. Because I was interested in seeing Bill and Ted Face the Music. How do their characters? How have they aged? What do they look like now as people with grown daughters? And but they really didn't age. Even their daughter's colloquialisms are so 80s and 90s inspired. Like they do a bit of a mini me Bill and Ted thing. But I thought it would be kind of interesting to see what a Bill and Ted of today look like.
Yeah.
We don't see that. We see just a female Bill and Ted from the 80s.
But I guess part of the Bill and Ted thing is like Bill and Ted never have any resemblance of conflict with each other.
No. Or
They're not
with
even different
anybody.
characters.
No, they're the same character.
Yeah.
So I guess the whole family being the same character could have been funny.
Yeah.
But they were never together. Or like
That's even a problem they address in this film is with their wives. They go to marriage counselling.
And
And they're like, we love you guys.
Yeah, I wanted that to be the whole movie.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I found that so frustrating.
I mean, there's Troy and Abed vibes,
But separate from their togetherness, Troy and Abed have different identities with.
Yeah.
Oh, they're very different.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So with this, it's this more of the same with wives, and it's just like there's no.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is, but it just doesn't feel as impactful.
I think what it's trying to do
Yeah.
is take a really realistic, and that can often be quite funny, taking a realistic lens at an absurd premise. But there's already, Bill and Ted is so wacky, and the idea that they got married to princesses that they took from, time traveling from the first movie, and they also play in their rock band, and it doesn't, you can't try and apply logic to it. Like, now they're going to marriage counseling. And it's like, what? In what world are they doing that?
In what world did they marry princesses?
It did seem like the original movies matched the Bill and Ted better.
There was something that's...
the world was as dumb as them.
Some of the zaniness has been lost in this film, and I'll fully admit to that.
Sounds like you did it. Huh? And I'll take the full blame.
That's my bad.
That's on me, man.
As you know, I directed it.
I feel like
Alex, Keanu, stand back. I got this one.
Progressively speaking, the movies focus more and more on narrative rather than the jokes. So the first one was all jokes, not really much of a story. The second one had a bit more of a refined story, and the third one is pretty much all story.
Yeah.
I feel like the third one had a very solid theme running through it, at least, but we're not all middle-aged men that have daughters. So that might be...
it's just Brody.
It's just very different as well.
Who has ever watched the Bill and Ted movie for themes?
I mean, I can watch it.
No, I agree.
I don't
completely.
need to have a kid,
But
but
it's
I have
trying
to
to be
try
something
and
different.
support to like the Bicycle Thief,
Are you comparing the third Bill and Ted to a bicycle thing?
Bill and
Sue me.
Ted's excellent
Maybe that's
bicycle.
why I didn't like Bicycle Thieves. It's just I didn't have a kid, man.
No, it's Bill and Ted's bicycle adventure.
I'm imagining you've got a little
the thief.
notebook, and you're like, compared to Bicycle Thief, not this one. Tenet, not Bicycle Thief wins again.
It's really difficult to make me give a shit about them losing, because that's what the main thing about this film is as well. It's not really about them trying to get this song to reunite mankind. It's to get this song so they can keep their wives, so they can prove to
don't
their
care about
lives.
No, but the way I see it though is like the song is like representative of them accomplishing or self-actualizing, which is something they haven't done. They're like, oh, we'll do that eventually.
But for Bill and Ted, they're doing it because they can't stand the idea of their wives leaving them.
Yeah,
They
that's
need
their
to do
drive.
this.
Yeah,
And
that's the goal.
As I said before, it's a really unrealistic relationship. We don't know these people as characters. We've replaced them every movie with new actors. Why do I care that they're leaving now?
So I think they should have made it about that, like, they're like, we have to grow up to save our wives. But, like, that should
I
have
didn't
been...
care about the wives.
Yeah, no,
But that's kind
that
of
would've
what
been
they
good.
were trying to go for,
Yeah.
with the fact that they have to grow up and actually care about their daughters
Yeah.
and the goals their daughters are trying
that
to
would have
achieve.
been... That could have been good.
That's what they were trying
Yeah.
to go for, I think. Especially
I wish
with
they did.
Yeah, I wish they did it better.
Yeah, the thing is,
I think they got distracted by their wives.
in the girls' lives, their idols are their fathers.
Yeah.
So if they had a bit more of a broken relationship, with them,
That's what I wanted to see.
yeah, I think that would work more effectively.
Or like for their
I agree.
daughters to be like consider the metal they listen to as soft rock, and they're like, that's totally bogus. What?
Yeah.
You know,
Like
like
daughters
to
like
see that
metalheads or
generation-
something.
Yeah, they're real metalheads now.
It would also
Yeah.
feel like they're inventing like a new level for music, which
Yeah,
would
yeah.
aid to like the end.
Yeah, but if they connect with their daughters to make this new song or something,
Yeah.
or- I don't know. I just didn't really like the way their families were integrated, or the how shallow their growth was in the time that we haven't seen them.
Yeah. But yeah, they were just paying homage to the first film with bringing historical figures, and then they went to hell like in the second film. It just
Yeah.
felt like they were kind of ticking boxes a
Yeah.
bit.
I was actually thinking about this. You know, we're talking about how first film is time, second film is like life and death. And I was like, the third film should be something like Dreams, maybe, or
Oh.
Reality itself.
yeah. I was trying to think of a
Multiverse.
different frontier that it could have explored, but it doesn't really make its own way like that.
It's
Yeah.
like it starts the first movie and then it goes into the second movie.
Yeah.
It's just like...
It felt like they were just...
the same kind of ending as the first two.
The first two films just have such a clear sort of goal and a really simple. Just you need to just get all these characters so you can do a report. That's all they need to do. They're just going to go get characters so they can do a report. And then the second film is, well, there's a lot of shit going on.
Come back to life.
Yeah, they're not really making any decisions or have really any goals.
Yeah.
They're just following what is in front of them and what
Yeah.
they're being told to do. And then with this one, it seems like they have far more of, yet again, they have far more of an objective that's too, a little bit too abstract. Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves, they do a really good job, and especially because they were quite young at the time and they're playing these young characters. And falling into them so well and it just feels like that's who they are. It feels really natural.
Yeah.
It feels like they love their characters too. It feels like they're really attached to Bill and Ted.
Yeah, this felt a lot more of a performance. So like I'm watching like something I'd see on like Saturday Night Live, or like a sketch show or something where they were playing the daughter characters. It felt a lot more over the top and
Thrown together.
yeah.
Didn't feel as natural for the characters.
It didn't feel like it justified all these years later being like, we're coming back. We got a story we've got to tell.
Yeah.
It also just really works with them being young. You never question that they're just like dumb California kids.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
as
it was-
adults,
it was
I
part of
don't
their
know
charm.
the context as well.
Yeah, it was part of their charm before, and now it's
Yeah.
just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I did enjoy that they got to explore all of these different characters that they played, like in the jail being these beefy characters,
Yeah.
and being in the hospital.
That's probably the best of the
Yeah, well, I
flash
felt
forwards.
like they had fun with it,
Yeah.
and they were able to really try to explore different ways to present the characters. I think I just would have liked the story to be centered around Bill and Ted, and them getting up to some sort of kooky adventure instead of it ending and them being like, oh, we're bad fathers.
Yeah.
We gotta care about our daughters, dude. Like,
It would have been great if there was like a multiverse thing or like
Yeah.
dreams
Yeah.
or even like
Yeah,
just
a
a new inventive
yeah,
idea.
yeah.
But I don't think it was a bad film because it didn't feature that. I just thought,
It was an unnecessary film though, because whenever there's this thing like Indy 4 or Bill and Ted 3 or a Ghostbusters 3, you kind of, it's either going to be a giant cash grab or the original creators of the franchise had a story that they were like, no, this people would love this.
Yeah.
This
A
is gonna be
good,
great.
good example would be like El Camino, where some people feel it wasn't completely necessary, but you could say just the idea of giving what happens to Jesse
Yeah,
next and giving him a nice
he deserves
story.
that telling.
Yeah.
I think
I
especially
would
if you're gonna
disagree
wait
with
20 years.
Yeah.
Like, you're waiting 20 years for it.
And so there's a point watching this movie where you realise that it is the former and it's not a thing of love. It's a bit of a cash grab.
Yeah.
Although that being said, I do think because I know Keanu. I know like a lot of the creative team were back for this, so I think it was a product of love. But I think
It was
ultimately
also, it was a studio thing.
they wanted just to get back together and let's shoot a
Well,
movie again.
Hey, let's see what we can do with
yeah.
these
I
characters
don't think
20 years
cash
in the future.
grab, but just something that they
Yeah.
wanted to do.
It's a bit
but
more nuanced than that, but-
Yeah, even if
Yeah.
they didn't have a good reason to make this film, it was a reason to be like, oh well, we haven't all sat in
we
a
want to do
room.
it. The fans want it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
why
just
not?
nice to make a movie
Yeah,
again
true,
with
yeah.
this somebody I haven't made a movie with in 20 years.
Yeah.
Death coming back was fun.
Yeah.
He was probably my favorite character in this, and he was my favorite character in the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
What does that say?
and at least he delivered.
Yeah.
He's the only character in the franchise that's a real character.
Well, to
in
me,
some ways.
if Bill and Ted 1, Socrates is my go-to. Bill and Ted
Socrates.
2, Death's my go-to. Bill and Ted 3, I wouldn't go to.
Well, you're meant to have
Oh shit!
Dennis. I think that's
Yeah.
the
Was that-
issue.
I thought he just called you Dennis.
Dennis
Listen to me.
I think that's the issue with the robot Dennis character is when you Socrates doesn't evolve as a character, but he's just so
He
funny.
evolves
from
as
the
much as
get-go.
by the end of the film they know his name's Socrates.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of development.
Yeah, but he also has that little bit of badass in him as well.
Yeah, well, I love
Oh,
the
yeah,
stuff
he
with him
saves
and
them.
Billy the Kid and
Yeah.
Sigmund Freud in the wall and stuff.
Yeah.
But with Death, the reason probably that he stands out so much is because he has a really clear defined arc. That he goes from being the Grim Reaper to playing bass in their band.
He's also such an iconic character, not only within cinema, but just everyone knows the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. With Dennis, there was this moment where everyone does sort of have an idea of this super advanced robot that you've seen cliched before, but he sort of gets to this point where you find out he's a bit awkward, and then you're like, oh, okay, he's gonna have this arc where he's gonna learn to maybe not be as awkward. He's gonna do some cool stuff, and so I don't know what, but he doesn't really do anything. He's just awkward for the rest of the film, and that's it. Like that's the joke.
I thought it was funny, him being deadly and then just killing the wrong people.
Yeah.
Just massacring everyone.
Yeah, I loved his reactions.
And his costume was pretty funny.
Pretty
but
Power
Yeah.
the more you cut back to it, the less funny it is. But having Death come back was nice for me. I enjoyed the bit where they were talking that he used to have 40-minute bass solos when
Yeah.
they played live. It just made me laugh.
And Bill and Ted's daughter's like, dude, no, you're great.
Yeah.
He's like, really? You're not pulling my
really?
leg?
He's so insecure
Yeah.
and just weird.
He wants to be loved.
Yeah.
I mean, I was with it until about where they get to hell. Like that's where I started to drop off a bit. I
Yeah.
enjoyed seeing the Keanu
agree.
Reeves and Alex Winter play around with the different characters.
And
There was some funny moments, like with the buckets on the head, and you know
It's sort
that-
of charming. It's such
yeah,
a
it's
silly
charming.
joke.
It's entertaining. It's
Was
it's
it
silly.
when they escape prison?
Well, with the buckets on the head. No, when they're
No,
trying to
that's
escape
when
themselves.
they-
And
Yeah,
they're like,
that's it,
oh, we
that's
can't
it,
know what we're
that's
gonna
it.
do, and
That's
then they're
right.
like wandering around with the
yeah.
buckets.
That was fantastic.
Dude, I don't know where I am. It's
That
like,
is
that's
so
the point.
Yeah, that was good.
It's
Yeah.
just like it's nice that it's such a small joke too.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like this charming.
It's just
yeah.
charming, fun,
Yeah.
and silly.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that the moment they focus on the actual music, that's the bad part of it. It's like we like them
Yeah.
talking about it, but showing the music, nah, it's
Yeah.
It's
too
just
much.
funny them telling Mozart he was in the wrong key.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, dude, D, and he's like, oh, yeah, oh.
So, as I said before previously, that I'm actually not, and I thought I was quite a big fan, but upon rewatching them as a 25-year-old, I'm not crazy about this franchise. It doesn't tickle my funny bone per se as much as other 80s comedies would. But I was excited to see them return to the screen. I like Keanu a lot, but I wasn't a fan of this movie really, I have to say. And even if it was exactly the sequel that we needed, I probably still wouldn't have been a big fan. So I'm going to give this a 3.
Yeah. So watching these films together was a bit much. It was a bit much for me. But
6 hours.
Yeah, and also I hadn't slept. I was very tired.
You would know.
So watching these films all together was a bit much, but I revisited it today, and I had a bit more fun with it. I felt like the characters had fun in their roles. I wish the daughters were either a bit more expanded as characters, or Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter had more of a role in their own film. I initially thought I'd give this a lower score, but I think I'll give it a 5.
Okay. Yeah, look, I found it kind of unnecessary. I did think it was funny at times, but I thought it was just kind of like visually bland, and in a way that I just thought that Bill and Ted was just like a product of their time, and there was a kind of culture music sense in it where I just don't think that really translates in 2020 as well, unless they just did it with newer young characters or something. I'd probably give it a 4.5.
I basically feel a mixture of everything you guys just said. Mostly, I think what Brody said, this film wasn't necessary. It didn't need to be made, mostly because the story didn't need to be told. It didn't further anything that... Well, the series was never asking for a sequel. It was never asking for us to deal with these characters realistically. I think it's really tricky as well. There's... the original films I think are really funny, and they're able to balance being super absurd without, just being childish or nonsensical. It's able to have this humor that makes perfect sense, and this film and the newest film didn't really do that. I found myself, just not laughing a lot of the times. The jokes are falling flat. I didn't find this film particularly funny. I give it a 4.5.
Can I throw out the word redundant?
Yes.
You
got it written in a piece of paper.
I'll happily admit that it is a redundant movie. It is pretty much a cash grab. The story did not need to be told.
With that being said, I give it a 10.
I just thought the wonderful performances by
the thing is, with movies like this, you don't need any of that. You just need to switch off, enjoy some fun, dumb shit.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Fast and Furious movies, for example. It's a turn on, switch off.
Okay.
So
let's do that.
With these kinds of movies, I feel giving it a negative score is a little bit ridiculous. I did have fun. I did laugh a hell of a lot, and I'm gonna call bullshit on that. I saw you laugh.
I definitely laughed, but I would say comparatively to the first two films,
I was laughing at it. He's going.
So
also the ending being.
God damn it.
Also, the ending being that bad really sucks a lot out of it. That might have gotten that passable rating if not.
I will admit to that. The ending did kind of suck. The final grand big band scene was shit.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
It wasn't great. But I'm not in it for the payoff. I was in it for the ride. What the fuck are you guys laughing at?
I'm just laughing at Charles' Sure got me.
So with all that being said, I find it's fun, and I laughed a hell of a lot. It's a great movie to sit and just enjoy. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Now, can I also say I probably would give this maybe like a 6 if it wasn't for the last performance.
Well, like I
really
said,
didn't like that.
Like I said, for this movie, it's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
Yeah.
So
I think that's from the movie.
But it's just like
Can I change my review now?
What you say?
It's just like the ending of the first movie was so charming and fun that I feel like it made the whole thing come together.
And the second movie, both of them had great endings.
I felt that this captured the charm of the first movie.
It's sort of with those sort of films, you have to start wacky and keep getting wackier, and I didn't feel this sort of ever hit that pinnacle.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. What did you think of this movie? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And follow us on Instagram and SoundCloud, because we have those now. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys.
The devil.
Who was making the comparison between Tenacious D and in this film?
Oh, I think was that you? Dude, I think that was you.
Oh yeah, it was.
All right.
Yeah, that was amazing.
We've lost that one, I think.
Yeah, we're about to lose them anyway.
Well, no, that's okay. That's just your
No, guys, yeah, no, we're good.
Charles,
take it away.
Real
I'm gonna cut the tape.
Charlie Kaufman, I'm thinking of ending things. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.
Is it about suicide or
Bye. Like,
breakups?
subscribe.
Suicide?
Bells.
Who knows?
Is it
Existential
about this,
terror?
or is it a bit of this?
This is all getting cut.
I can't see it. I just see the camera.
Seriously,
Where are the people?
What are you doing?
Where are they?
I love that.
The roaring 20s.